Hi children, welcome back to the lesson water. This is a revision of this class. So here in water lesson we learned that water is a natural resource which is needed for all animals and plants. So here all living things, plants and animals, they need water to live, including with human being, right? So here we need water for drinking, cooking food, washing our utensils, cleaning floor, brushing teeth, washing clothes, flushing the toilets and watering the plants, right? So all these are individual purpose, but they need water. So let us see the uses of water. Water is used in home for drinking, cooking, washing, cleaning the house and washing clothes, washing toilets and watering plants. All these activities can be done at home. And water is used for the agriculture to grow the food. Here actually what happens for the cultivation of crops, it require more water. For example, in case of rice plant, to produce the rice plant we require near about 1500 liters of water, right? Sorry, 1500 liter of water for the wheat grains, and whereas 4500 liter of water means 4500 is required for the growth of rice plant. So is more rice plant require more water, so in the form of that we use water for the agriculture. And water is used in industries, right? So producing almost all things, they utilize the water. Next, water is used to keep the things cool. Whatever the vehicle radiators or machinery, when they become warm, water is required to cool them. Water in the rivers and lakes, they transport the passengers from one place to another place, and as well as water of the river and sea helps in dispersal of seed. The seed can be dispersed through the water, right? Next, where do we get water from, right? Here we get water from the rivers. Sorry, we get water from the two ways in the form of rain. Actually, here what happens, the rivers, in case of rivers, how do the river get the water? The rivers get their water from the melting of snow lying on the peaks of snow mountain called glaciers. From the glaciers we get water, means rivers get water. And lakes and ponds and wells get their water from the rains. So in the river we get water from glaciers, lake, ponds and etc., they get water from the rain. Have you understood? So here rain water is the purest form of water, and here it is, you could able to see the glacier, the mountain snow, it becomes water here. And here rainwater is the purest form. This rainwater when falls, it enter into the rivers, lakes and ponds, wells, and as well as a little amount of water it seeps into the underground. It is called as underground water. By digging the borewell and tube well, we are getting the water back again. Actually sometimes in the places where the underground water comes out on the surface of the earth, it is called spring. So spring is also fit for the drinking water because it also contains pure water, right? So here what we declare, the water present in the rivers, lakes and ponds, wells, springs, they are drinking water, means fresh water. Whereas more than two-thirds of the earth is filled with the salt water, right? So the largest source of water on the earth is called oceans. But here we do not use the water present in the ocean. Why? Because maybe a lot of water is there being highly saline, means salty water. The ocean water or sea water is not fit for drinking and domestic purpose and agriculture, even industrial need. So we require only fresh water, not the ocean or sea water, because they are salty, saline in nature, right? So now, states of water, how many forms are there and how many states are there, right? Here the states of water are three form, right? Ice is solid form of water. Ice, when you heat the ice, what it becomes, it becomes water. Water is the liquid form of water, and whereas when you heat the water, it become vapor. So vapor is the gaseous form of water. So steam or vapor, it is called gaseous form. So water is available in three form: in solid ice, in liquid water, in gaseous form steam or vapor, right? So in this three form we could get water. So here they given some statements here. When ice is heated, it melts, changes into water, means ice become water by heating. When water is cooled too much, it freezes and changes into ice, means if you heat the water, ice, it become water. If you cool the water, it becomes ice. And as well as if you heat the water, it becomes steam, or vapor. When you cool the steam, it become water. So reversible process, right? So during water cycle, what changes do occur in the water? So during the water cycle, actually the liquid water become vapor and vapor become water, sometimes even ice also. So let us see one by one. First, the evaporation process, right? Evaporation and transpiration. These two are the processes where in the environment they add water, the moisture. The water in the form of vapor is called as moisture or humidity. This can be added by two processes, evaporation and transpiration. So what is evaporation? Here they give an example for the drying of cloths. How do we dry the cloth? By exposing to the sunlight and air. So when it is exposed to the sunlight and air, the water drops present in the cloths, they receive the heatness of the sunlight and it gets evaporated. When water evaporates from the cloths, it is what we call drying, right? So here another activity, when you keep the water in the sunlight and at the shade, cool place, then what happens? The one kept in under sunlight, it loses more water in the form of vapor. Evaporation is more. Here evaporation is less because sunlight is not there, right? So definitely, if we want to dry our washed cloth, school uniform quickly, we should spread it nearby the heater or angiti, we call it as. Okay, now heat produced by the heater will evaporate the water present in it faster, then we could able to dry it quicker, right? If you want to actually the same process takes place in case of ocean or large water body. It loses the water in the form of vapor. And what happens here, even it is salt water, the salt do not carried by the vapor, only pure form of water will be evaporated and salt will be left behind, right? So this is how the vapor is added into the air. It is what we call moisture, right? Next, loss of water by the plants. So this is evaporation process. Next, come to transpiration. So loss of water from the plant body through the stomata in the form of vapor is called as transpiration. In transpiration, plant loses the water. Plant loses water through the stomata. So transpiration also add a little amount of water into the air, right? So this is about evaporation. Next, let us see the process of condensation, formation of clouds. So here, what is condensation? The changing of water vapor into liquid form or liquid water on cooling. It is called condensation, right? Here it is. We have activity. Take a ice cold water out of the deep fridge and keep on the table. Then what happens? We could able to notice the appearance of water puddles around the glass. Why? Because around the glass there is vapor. When you keep this out of the fridge, then what happens? The water vapor that is present around the water, it get cooled down. By the condensation process, it forms the air bubble, sorry, water bubbles around the glass, right? So this is how condensation process occur. Actually condensation is the reverse of evaporation. It is reverse of evaporation. In evaporation, water become vapor. In condensation, vapor become water. So here cloud formation, the process of condensation involved in the formation of clouds, right, in the sky, bringing back water to the surface of the earth. So clouds can be formed because of vapor. Some clouds are brighter, some clouds are darker. It is bright means it has water vapor, not yet condensation taken place. If condensation taken place, it become dark cloud, right? Now uh, here what happens during the winter season? During winter season, what happens? During winter season, when you breathe out the air, you could able to see the cloud in front of you. That is what we call fog, right? And on some plants also, in the early morning we could able to see the dew on the tip of the leaf, right? So this is all because of condensation of. Next, after condensation, the clouds become heavier, the droplets become drops, water drops, and it starts raining, right? So after rainfall, the water falls on the reaches the surface of the earth and it seeps into the groundwater, and as well as a little amount of water. Because of coolness at the mountain region, what happens? It become more condensed. It is called precipitation. By the precipitation, we get snowfall. So here snowfall, it forms glaciers at the top of the mountain. Again we know that glaciers, when they melt down, they become water, right? So like that, the water bodies can be recharged with the help of rain, right? So that is what we call back to the oceans. From now, the rainfall, after rainfall, the total water, it enters into ocean, we know that. Next, water cycle in the nature. What happens? How do these things happen? So here it is the water cycle. Through the evaporation and transpiration, the water moves up and it forms the cloud. When cloud, it become cool, means condensation of cloud. When condensation of cloud occurs, it gives us rain. If it become more cool, it is what we call precipitation. It gives the snow. Even snow, the rainwater, whatever the water that fall on the surface of the water, a little amount will be enter into the groundwater, and remaining water will enter into the ocean. So evaporation, condensation, precipitation, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, the water cycle will go on, right? So what is the importance of water cycle? Here the importance of water cycle is that the water cycle makes the fresh water to available in the form of rain. If there is no water cycle, we are unable to get the water. And as well as water cycle keeps the amount of water on the earth surface constant. So if there is no water cycle, then water will evaporate and it remain as it is. The total earth become dry, right? Now what if rains heavy? If it rain heavy, we know that it causes flood. So during the flood, the people are going to face many problems we discussed in the previous videos, right? So heavy rains, it causes loss of food, water, shelter, right? It causes heavy damage to the living food. And whereas what happens if there is no rainfall for the longer period? The soil loses the moisture and it becomes useless, right? And it shows the cracks on it. So it is what we call the drought condition. If drought condition occurs, there is shortage of plants. When there is no plants, there is no food. When there is no food, even no oxygen also occurs. So we have to use the water in proper way. So how can we conserve the water? We can conserve water by following proper management method. So otherwise the situation will be like this. So how to conserve the water? At your personal level, we have to turn off the taps immediately, right? Minimizing the water wastage, taking bath, filling the bucket, and washing utensils by filling basin, and use use water from washing rice, vegetables, to water the plant, right? Do not flush totally. These are the personal level conservation of water. And rainwater harvesting. What is meant by rainwater harvesting? Tapping the rainwater for the further use or storing, or to increase the groundwater level, right? So here two methods are there: collecting and storage of the rainwater for further use where scarcity of water is there, or otherwise second one, to make the water to percolate into the soil, means underground water. So to recharge the underground water or to use the water, we use rainwater harvesting structures. So what are those two? Number one, rooftop rainwater harvesting, and rainwater harvesting from the open spaces, right? Now rooftop harvesting. In rooftop harvesting, we are going to collect the rainwater here, and through the pipeline we could store the water in the underground tank. This is one method. Or otherwise, instead of underground tank, you could make a percolation pit. Here what happens, when rainwater is gathered in the percolation pit, it seeps into the ground level, and from the outlet pipe it enters into the groundwater. So this is one way to recharge the groundwater, right? And as well, here is another method where the water is recharged, means groundwater is recharged by the rainwater harvesting from open spaces around the building. So here on the road, the whatever the pavement with the cement road or something concrete, so here we have to make the holes. From these holes, the rainwater enters into the ground level. Here in the ground level, we are going to construct the percolation pit. So whatever the water is there enters into the percolation pit, where we use coarse sand and gravel, broken bricks, right? They used as a percolatory material. And now we have to connect it to outlet to recharge the wells, or otherwise tanks that is constructed below the ground. Already percolation pit is constructed under the ground. And as well as we have to connect the slab cover. Concrete slab cover is closed to this tanker which recharges the soil. It is called aquifer, right? So by this method we can recharge the groundwater. This is open land. Okay, so with this we completed the discussion. Already question answers also discussed in the previous video.